This week, episode 309 of Stogie Geeks, we interview Jonathan Lipson, sales director for Alec. Let me start that over. This week, we interview Jonathan Lipson, director of sales and marketing at Alec Bradley Cigars. In our first segment, in our second segment, we interview Armen, managing partner for DAV Cigars. And we are going to talk all things Alec Bradley. And for some of you Stogie Geeks who might heard some lingo of Alec and Bradley, we're going to get a definition of the difference and what is going on with the experimental series of Alec Bradley. It all starts right now on episode 309 of Stogie Geeks.
This is a Security Weekly production. Broadcasting live from G-Unit Studios in Rhode Island, it's the show where cigars burn slow, ashes fall fast, and cocktails flow steady. It's the Stogie Geek Show. Welcome, everyone, to the Stogie Geek Show. Joe and I are already silly.
Oh, yeah.
Joe Hozempa, a.k.a. Joe Hollywood, is here with me in studio.
I'm fired up.
Havana Cigar Club, located in Warwick, Rhode Island, is a great place to enjoy a drink and a cigar. Stogie Geeks listeners can find a $5 off coupon on our website by clicking the HCC logo.
Confidence. Confidence isn't walking into a room with your nose in the air, thinking you're better than anyone else. It's walking into a room and not having to compare yourself to anyone in the first place.
Welcome to episode 309 of Stogie Geeks. I'm your host, Joe Hozempa. We have live via Skype. We have Drew over there in Texas. Drew, what's going on?
Nothing much. How you doing this morning? I forgot to turn on my mic.
We'll call you Audio Drew, right?
Oh, yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, it's nice over here. It's in the 40s, so we got out of that 90s temperature, but now it's rainy.
You said 40?
Yeah.
40.
It's,
What do we have?
46 degrees actually right now.
Yeah, man. I actually think we're rocking a cool 51 degrees right now, and I'm smoking Alec Bradley, so it's a pretty good Friday for sure.
Same here.
You know, I wanted my Bloody Mary, and the guy next door has 3 customers, and my Bloody Mary supposedly is being delivered. I don't know. You know, it's like what I do, Grubhub or something like that. Anyway, we also have Jonathan Lipson. He is the director of sales and marketing at Alec Bradley Cigars. We are about to talk all things Alec Bradley, experimental series with Alec Bradley. I'm super excited about that. I want to know the difference, and we're going to talk about Alec and Bradley in that line as well. Jonathan, welcome to the show.
Gentlemen, how we doing?
I'm doing good. First of all, Jonathan, I just want to thank you. You had sent us some super cool stuff from the experimental series. You sent us some Alec Bradley Tempest, and well organized. You're one of the organized people who have been on Stogie Geeks, because there's nothing worse than 10 minutes before the show, me going through the probably 6 or 7 boxes that get delivered on a daily basis, and we're cutting open cigars to find out which ones are the ones we bought and which ones we need for the promo for the show. So thank you for being organized.
Yeah, no problem. Who's got it better than you?
You know, I don't know. Well, Drew's doing pretty good over there in Texas. Drew, say hi to Jonathan.
Hey, good afternoon, Jonathan. How's it going over there, Florida?
Fantastic. Drew, how are you?
Oh, yeah. We're over here in Bedford, Texas, so we're enjoying this nice, cool weather finally.
Yeah.
If you call 80 down here, cool. We're doing all right.
You are. I was just in Miami 3 weeks ago, Jonathan. I love Miami. Like, I love that town, that city. I love it. It's awesome. You know,
Yeah, no complaints about Miami.
I went down to Cayo Ocho over there, and that's a freaking you want to talk about a place where you can like almost step back in time and really go back. And what I love about some of the cigar bars there is they're like rum bars. You know what I mean? They have tons of rum and tons of stuff, and it's super cool. It's definitely a super cool vibe over there.
You play dominoes?
I did not play dominoes. I didn't. They had a Cuban band, and we were dancing. So
Nice.
I'm a dancer. I'm not gonna lie. I can ballroom dance. Scored second in the competition for tango. True story. Anyway, but yeah. So if I got my girl, I got my kid. We're gonna friggin' smoke some cigars, and what I like about it's like it's outdoors too, so it's like it was super cool. Like I won't like smoke around the kid obviously, but it was like outdoors and the patio, they're dancing, and they had a Cuban band. It was so cool though. And where the other band was playing was indoors, which I found interesting. You couldn't smoke like indoors, like in some of the bars, but you can smoke on like the patio, which everything has a patio on that strip there too. So it was kind of cool. So I was able to have a cigar, sit and chill, and then go and dance and not be in a cigar and be close to loved ones and cut a rug up there. And it was super cool, And the owner kept serving us, I guess we're dancing. Not a lot of people dancing. We're dancing of style. And the owner kept serving us drinks. I'm like, sir, I got a little one. I got to take it easy, Uber. Uber. Yeah, right. That would not look good, Ubering with a kid. And that's not setting a good example. I'm trying to set a good example, It's only going to be a matter of time until my kid finds me on the TV. And I don't know if he's going to like the shows. Right. But anyway, thank you for joining us here on Stogie Geeks. Want to catch up with Alec Bradley Cigars. Want to catch up with your position, Alec Bradley Cigars. Definitely want to get into a sales and marketing aspect of that. How things have changed. If you could just give us an idea of how long you've been in the industry, where were you before then, and kind of your journey with Alec Bradley, so that we can tailor the discussion around the sales and marketing of all the fascinating things that are happening with Alec Bradley, especially the experimental series as well. So.
Yeah, I mean, I take it back to when I was 18. I mean, I'm 35 now. I started working in a shop right after high school, before college, in Philadelphia. From there, throughout college, I worked at David Ehrlich's in Boston, which unfortunately is now defunct.
Yeah.
It was the Churchill Cigar Bar at the Boston Millennium. That was a great experience. I think I spent more time there than I did in class. I was a headhunter for like 6 months. Hated that. Left. No plans. Worked at the shop I worked at in Philly before I could find anything else. Ended up working at Holtz in Philadelphia.
Oh, really?
Did a few years with them. From there, I went to La Fluta Dominicana for a couple of years. And from LFD, I went to Alec Bradley right after Alan received Cigar of the Year for Prensado Churchill. I ran New Jersey, Eastern Pennsylvania, the boroughs into Westchester for them. And I've been down here, for like 3 years now as the director of sales and marketing. So uprooted my life from Philadelphia, came down here, and, been sitting at my desk since.
Do you like South Florida, or are you cool with it?
I do.
Okay, because most people are like, they either work down there and like travel out and like hate it, or they really, really like it. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm asking. That's all.
My days on the road are over. I enjoyed my time. I spent the best years of my 20s on the road jumping, throughout that tri-state area. And before that, with LFD, I ran New Jersey down to Virginia. That was a great experience as well. But the days of me hopping around in hotels, those days are pretty much over outside of like IPCPR or anytime we have to go down to Honduras and Nicaragua, anything like that. But I like to say I'm the guy behind the guy behind the guy. Yeah,
sure. What's it like to, you have to stick with your traditional branding arguments and then do that there. But what's it like when you're doing a test blend and you don't know what to call it, or maybe you do know what to call it, but somebody has an idea, and then you get a chance to market that, right? So now you have to make a choice, right? How is it going to be positioned in that marketplace, as well as stay underneath that corporate umbrella of what we represent as a company? So.
It's funny, Joe, because it all depends. It depends on the blend. It depends on the name. Sometimes we go in, all right, we have the name and we blend for the name. And sometimes just the blend pops up and it's like, all right, we have a list of names, or even if we don't have a list of names, we come up with names all the time. It's like, all right, so this is Project 40, this is, Gatekeeper, this is, Blind Faith, whatever that may be. It depends on the mood of the company at the time. We are, for anybody who doesn't know, Alec Bradley, we're a small family-owned operation founded by Alan Rubin in 1996. We can pivot. We can definitely pivot. We'll talk about it later, but you have Alec Bradley, the home company. You have Alec and Bradley Cigars, which is within the family. That's Alan Rubin's two kids, Alec and Bradley, the namesakes of the company. And then recently, Alan purchased the Lars Teton's brand, which is a conditioned brand of cigars, essential oils and botanicals. Something completely different than what Alec Bradley is traditionally doing. So, a lot of people think of us as a much larger company with a humongous umbrella, but at the end of the day, we are a small company with family roots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and purchasing the Lars Teton brands, for you Stogie Geeks listeners, I'm going to date myself. When I owned a cigar shop in the late 90s and early 2000s, Lars Teton's used to just have a label with a red string around it for that series and whatnot. And I remember, now correct me if I'm about right, probably 20 years. Yeah, it was just about the time that the Acids had launched, because Acid just did their 20-year anniversary, so the timing's right. Yeah, because I remember like when I first owned the shop, we really didn't have like a lot of Acid stuff. We had a lot of True Estate stuff, you know what I mean? Yeah, your Java and stuff, but and then like that whole infuse there, and then Lars Teton's like was, I believe, I'm like 99% sure that like first to market with the infused stuff, there, and then the Acid line came, and then you have, but it's a different process because one's like oil based infusion, which is the Lars Teton's, and then the other is the Drew based infusion, which is under lock and key and secret cover unless you go to the Oasis or whatever the heck it's called and whatnot. But either way, I think that those are interesting projects, and then you got to remember, at the time, call it 1999, 20 years ago, you had dial-up internet, right? And not that was a big factor, but you didn't have social media. You didn't have anything to get the word out and focus on much more other than magazine publications or trade shows, right? So, and Lars Teton's himself is an interesting guy because outside of cigars, if you ever Google him and throw him into Google, like he did super cool stuff 20 years ago. I can only imagine like what he's up to now, because like he was eccentric 20 years ago. He had metal skateboards. And like this guy like spoke my language, because like I skated vert until I was 37. I'm 45 now, right? So it's like like he had metal skateboards and like they were long boards, and he got into hats and clothing and just a lifestyle brand of what he is, and then there you go. And I don't want to take away from the Alec Bradley stuff, but talk to me a little bit about like how that happened. Like you know what I mean? Like was you guys just all at IPCPR one day and says, that guy's freaking cool. Let's see if he wants to come on board.
Lars is not the IPCPR type. He's not the what were they before IPC? They've gone through so many.
Oh yeah, it's CigarCon now. Yeah.
Whatever that is. I mean, he is a free spirit. I mean, he's definitely a free spirit. He traces his company back to '79, which is way before Alan Rubin. This company started in '96, and I think Lars was probably he was I don't know how far back. He was actually very, very popular. I know he was extraordinarily popular in the '90s. Especially around the boom time. I think, he was an innovator. He was definitely an innovator of his time. His blends and his conditioning process, helped speak to an audience that wasn't completely ready to smoke a cigar that was like, tobacco that was traditional. I think his products, helped they were kind of like a stepping stone into that, or people just liked, that, that conditioned cigar, and then that kind of transitioned, some people into something that was a little bit more infused, like say the acids. Jonathan Drew and Marvin Samuel, they used to, they were the distributors for Lars for a very, very long time. But as far as how this whole relationship, was put together, Alan several years ago, Alan's always been a big fan of what Lars is and who he is. And he kind of tracked him down. He met him on a couple different occasions. And then one time he's like, I really need to sit and talk with this guy. And as the story goes, they were at a shop in Pennsylvania right outside of Philly, and they'd set a meeting for like 10 p.m. Lars showed up at 2 a.m. and right in the back of his truck pulled out, a little pot and, some type of burner with him and made Alan lobster mac and cheese at 2 a.m.
Hell yeah. That's awesome.
They talked until like 5 a.m. and then it's just been a process over the last couple of years. It's like, all right, this is something completely different. Alan took a stab at it and here we are. And, the first Lars Tetons presented by Alec Bradley, that started shipping right after IPCPR this year, August, September.
Yep, and then of that line, I think it's either 5, 7, or 9 that you've launched off of that, numbers-wise. I've had Steampunk and the SS so far. I haven't blown through all of the repertoire. That SS is so interesting.
The SS is definitely interesting.
For those of you Stogie Geeks who are just listening, if you Google the Lars Tetons or go to Alec Bradley website and look up the Lars Tetons SS, I mean, it's just what I like about that, and then we can kind of pivot to Alec Bradley. What I like about that is like, Lars Tetons is just like, if you're in the mood for something, you like smoking cigars, okay? And we all go through our cadence of cigars, and we have a cigar limit or whatever it is, daily, weekly, budget, whatever the reason is. And if you want something freaking completely different, that's one of the brands that you need to like definitely look into for sure. It's just different. It's just different. And then the same thing, like if you were in the skateboarding world and you wanted freaking like a longboard to knock around with that was freaking metal and probably the last skateboard you're gonna buy, like you would buy a Lars Tetons skateboard. Like, I mean, it's freaking metal. I mean, you could do board slides on them. I've done it and they work. Like in the metal, like I have fell on my ass because when metal meets PVC coping with a little bit of sex wax on there. Now, for those of you who don't skateboard, you can Google like surfboard sex wax, not whatever your fantasy is sex wax. Anyway, you put that on there and then you go and you'll fucking fly on a metal skateboard. Anyway, that's my Lars Tetons story. I think that's awesome. They had lobster mac and cheese, put a deal together, and now you've launched that. And I am sure, just knowing how Alec Bradley is as a company, I am sure that there will be more stuff that will be coming down the road. Definitely,
The guy's got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of blends and, different essential oils. I don't even know the process. There's only Lars knows the process. He goes down there, he does his little cook up and whatever that is. And a lot of people, the big thing right this second, a lot of people who weren't around in the 90s, a lot of cigar smokers who weren't around the 90s, they kind of like, all right, it's a Drew estate. It's something like a Drew estate, or it's infused and it's flat. Joe, you smoked it. It's not that.
Right.
Right. It's a completely different.
It's just
experience.
Completely different. And then I'm even going to go ahead and describe the packaging of the Lars Tetons. Right. The packaging, they used oil, and I'm sure this was an experimental process because besides the little red band and all of that stuff, it came in a baggie that would probably be about the size. Where am I? All right. That would probably be the size of like these two cigars here. Right. So it's like a little baggie, Ziploc baggie. Okay. And then it had a cotton, a circular. It's like a cotton ball, but it was like it was a little bit heavier than a cotton ball. But it caught the oils, And then they had a sticker. Like, he would literally take a sticker of what it is on the bag. And you could tell, like, wherever they were packaging these or whatever, like, they were hand-making, like, the friggin' stickers, appealing the thing. Like, we're talking, like, ultra underground. In a world of non-internet, where ultra, like, we all like underground stuff, craft beer, spirits, boutique cigars, experimental series cigars, any consumer in any industry. I mean, that's why, like, Tesla does super cool, because when they first came out, because, you know, you can get your super cool freaking underground freaking hippie stick car, you know what I mean? Like, you know, whatnot. But the point is, they flocked to that, and they came out in an era of there and thrived and done that. And I remember, like, the oils, like, you could put, and we used to, like, mess around at the shop, because working in a shop or owning a shop, you spend a lot of time at the shop. Like, you could reuse the bag. So if you have, like, a really crappy stick, you could throw a lot, and you smoke the last year, you can throw it in there because it catches the oils and it would infuse, and it's rowdy. Anyway, Drew, do you have a question for Jonathan? Are you there, Drew? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm here. No, I was just listening to this fascinating story about the Lost Titans, because I was actually just doing some homework on that last night. But yeah, but no, the Gatekeeper, you know, that collaboration, I guess, with Ernesto Perez Carrillo, that cigar, you know, I've already had it 4 times since we got it here in our lounge, and I'll tell you, that's just one of my new favorite cigars that's come out. So do you see any more is there going to be some more collaborations?
Good question.
With like anybody else?
I don't know at this point. I know. All right. So Alec and Bradley are Alan Rubin's 2 sons, the namesakes of the company. So they both, you know, joined the company over the last couple of years. You know, Bradley most recently after he left college. Alec's been on here for 4 or 5 years at this point, I think, after he left college. You know, they're trying to get their feet wet. You know, their first blend was Blind Faith. Blind Faith, and
yes,
2 unknown 20-somethings that came out, you know, that didn't really want to live in their father's footsteps. You know, Alan, I remember sitting in that meeting. Alan's like, "Do you want to be my sons? Do you want to be known as that? You know, Alan Rubin's sons, and, you know, you make a cigar with the Alec Bradley name on it, or do you want to be known as your own cigar makers? You want to be known as 2nd-generation cigar makers?" And they chose the latter. They threw their own money at it. You know, they had to go through the struggles and, you know, the trials and tribulations and the blending processes to start with that. And, you know, their first cigar came out of Race's Cubanos factory in Donley, Honduras, which is, for all intents and purposes, you know, I guess our home factory. That cigar was successful on a limited production basis, and you know, the both of them, you know, I think between, you know, I work along with them in the marketing department. You know, we all kind of wear multiple hats, but you know, we all sit around, we smoke other people's stuff to get an idea of, you know, what's different, what's out there, and as a part of that whole, you know, stepping away from their father type of idea, you know, they thought, you know, they've always been big fans of Ernie, and they reached out to Ernie, and this was right around the time Ernie got Cigar of the Year. And it was just a surprise to everybody that Ernie actually took on the project. You know, Alan is very friendly with Ernie. He's known the boys also for quite some time, and he jumped at the chance. So this is the first collaboration. I hope it's not the last, personally. Somebody actually said, I think it may have been Coop. It was like, you should probably come out with a cigar in collaboration with your father. So,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
but I can see.
I foresee it.
Yeah, I totally can see that. I can see, you know, you brought up a couple of interesting points, which states to the testament of the family-run business, right? The father had given the sons a choice, right? You want to come in underneath the Alec Bradley umbrella, or do you want to be something that's different? You want to do your own thing. And I also think that it's super cool that, you know, they went to college, they finished college, they did that, because, you know, it just shows a testament that, like, you know, to be a father, and give your son a choice if you're running a successful business. I think it's super cool that they were able to do that. And interestingly enough, moving forward, I'm sure they would collaborate, absolutely. But it'd be cool for them to get like a couple more sticks underneath their belt and kind of see, like, you know, let's face it, whether you're Alec Bradley or whether you're insert any name, bottom line is, right, people have to love your product. People have to like your product. People have to like your product enough to purchase it. You can take care of all the distribution and all the behind the scenes and quality control and all of that. But at the end of the day, you're going to push sticks. And, you know, it's not all about pushing sticks. I understand that, you know, the companies, they start and they love to use the passion word, and I started all of that. But, like, you know, his kids probably, you know, they grew up with dad doing that. They have an opportunity. I'm excited to see the third, fourth, fifth go around, whether it's a collaboration or not, and kind of see, like, where they stand. Not that I'm ever thinking that they, you know, have no, you know, legs to stand on, but that blind faith, interestingly enough, the marketing behind it, I think, was phenomenal, right? I talk a lot about this about my interview. I am a business marketing position guy. I've, you know, I love the fact that detail of the marketing aspect of that stick was put into that. I think the collaboration with a well-known brand and a well-known person, smart move. Like I said, you know, hopefully next IPCPR, and I know we have FDA and all that stuff, but I can't wait to see what the third, fourth, and fifth stick are going to be.
Yeah, Alec and I are headed down to Honduras on Monday. One of the things we're going to go down there for is to blend their next project.
Nice. See, it's coming soon.
Really,
I like it. That's awesome.
Really looking forward to that.
Yeah. And then, like, so when you talk to them in future interview, by all means, when you speak to them, they open invitation. They come out whenever they want. You can give my email. We can schedule. I can do a separate interview with them. If you want to schedule one with Laz, that's fine. If you want to schedule a separate one with Alan, that's fine too. You know, and like wondering like what. So you work side by each, as we say here in the Northeast. You work side by side with them, right? Like, what's their palate like? Like, what are they like?
It's completely different from Alan's. I can tell you that. That's
intriguing. Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. You know, that's awesome.
Specifically Bradley, you know, Bradley knows what he wants. You know, we all like, you know, we're a Honduran, Nicaraguan cigar company, you know, heavy Honduran, heavy Nicaraguan. And, you know, Gatekeeper was something completely different. Mm-hmm. You know, we got the Ecuadorian wrapper on there. We got Dominican in the filler. I mean, Dominican, we haven't really touched Dominican since Alan started the company. You know, when he worked with, you know, with Davidoff way back in the 90s. So I would want to say that between Alec and Bradley, they have a much more experimental palate than, say, Alan. You know, I think we can all, you know, the three of us, we can all appreciate different blends and, you know, different rolling styles, different blending styles, you know, as Alec Bradley tends to be more that traditional, hey, you know, we are a Honduran / Nicaraguan cigar company. I think the boys bring on that new generation of, you know, the experience and, you know, playing with different tobaccos and trying something different to speak to a different audience.
Yeah. That's awesome that you guys are traveling soon and putting some stuff together. So looking forward to it. And I also like the idea that it's experimental for them. And if they were a smaller company on their own, they would be labeled as, you know, like that whole boutique and small blend and small batch or whichever you want to label it as. But the fact that they have a chance to work with the players in the industry, sky's really the limit. I mean, you could really, really like blow your consumers' socks off for sure. You know,
very, very, very unique. And you know, the Gatekeeper, which I'm smoking right this second, the packaging, the bands. I mean, you wouldn't expect this from Alec Bradley.
Yes, right.
You really wouldn't.
Right.
So it's truly, truly, truly the boys' company, the boys' passion, and what, you know, they enjoy.
Yep.
And, you know, hopefully that you know, they, you know, the consumers enjoy that as well. But I can tell you the Gatekeeper is killing it right now. It's getting out there. People are
Oh, yeah.
loving it. I even think it's something different, completely different than what you would expect from Ernie.
Yes.
You know,
Yep.
people tell me that it doesn't taste like a Carrillo cigar.
Right. Yeah. Without hogging up all the time, Drew, I apologize. I'll stop after a couple more minutes. When I came across the Gatekeeper and the Project 40, my first inclination, Alec Bradley. Like I said, I'm a fan of the Tempest when they came out. Not the Tempest Maduro. Then you guys had a run. Was it Cigar of the Year or it was the Presidio, right?
Prensado Churchill was Cigar of the Year 2011.
Yeah, it was Cigar of the Year there, and then you come out with this like Project 40 and the Gatekeeper, and I'm like, wow, like this is interesting. You know what I mean? It's like one of those times where it kind of brought me back to Alec Bradley, you know, and it's nothing. It's not, you know, as a consumer and as a Stogie geek, we get slammed with cigars. I mean, you know, we get cigars in the mail all the time. People trying to do whatever they got to do, and getting interviews and going through it. There's just only so much freaking cigars that we could get through. But like when I had the Gatekeeper first, I was like, oh wow, this is really, really different. And then when I had the Project 40, I was like, wow, man, like this is awesome. You know, take us through that Project 40 for the listeners, and then Drew can ask a question. Go ahead, Drew. After you start.
Project 40 is something I think that one's completely different. That was Alan, you know, that was something completely different for Alec Bradley in general, stepping out of our comfort zone. You know, we had the opportunity to work with Jesus Fuego. I know Alan's always been wanting to work with Jesus. You know, and Jesus has gone through his different iterations and, you know, his company and, you know, when he was a master blender for Rocky, so on and so forth. And we got this opportunity. You know, Jesus is mind blowing when it comes to blending. You know, he's also an agronomist. You know, the guy knows tobacco like it's almost uncomparable to you know, his abilities. And you know, he blew us all away with this blend and this, you know, the brand we created from it. You know, Brazilian. I don't even think we use Brazilian in anything else outside of that. So
Sure.
To have a cigar that good, who, you know, we got a 93 from Cigar Aficionado. Half Wheel gave us a 92. Coop gave us a 93. And the cigar average is $5.50 a stick without any excise tax. I mean, it's just mind blowing the type of, you know, critical acclaim we've gotten on that cigar so quickly. So definitely experimental series. Experimental is definitely the correct word for that cigar brand.
Right. Is it experimental because of the company's track record in blends and where they're from, or is it experimental as you just want to like mess around with some blends and see where it goes? Or probably a little bit of both.
Yeah, I think it's all encompassing.
Sure.
You know, working with Jesus, you know, playing with Brazilian tobacco, you know, trying a different factory, blending in a style that, you know, speaks to a different audience and doesn't, you know, completely speak to what we traditionally blend here. You know, that's all experimental. No question about it.
Yeah. Drew, you have a question? I have 10 more, but go ahead.
No. The other cigar I wanted to bring up was the Filthy Hooligan. I mean, I actually
Yes,
just
I
had
was
one
going
of those.
there.
Yes.
I was going there. I just didn't want to hog the time. Go ahead, Drew.
No, you're good. Oh my gosh, man, who blended that? That thing knocked my socks off. As far as, you know, I don't do a lot of those, you know, barber pole style cigars. I look at those, I'm like, okay.
You should, Drew. But anyway, that's another discussion. We'll do it. We'll have to.
Yeah. No, but yeah, give us a little bit on that. I mean, that's awesome. I love it.
That is, you know, it's funny because it's so funny. Before I got hired, you know, they sent me down here to Fort Lauderdale for a day, and you know, while I was interviewing, somebody, you know, threw a candela in front of me. He's like, "What do you think of a candela?" I go, "It kind of depends on the blend." I lit it up. I enjoyed it. You know, not everybody here is a gigantic fan of candela. It just so happened that wrapper really made that blend. You know, it, for all intents and purposes, is a black market with a Candela wrapper on it originally. So if you go back to the original Filthy Hooligan, that was 100% Candela. Did well, but the market, it's not 1920 something, 1930 something. Candela hasn't been a big thing in a very, very, very long time. So, as we move through the Candela and doing 100% Candela, we decided to put that darker Nicaraguan on there to make that barber pole. That is by far one of my favorite cigars.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm sorry it only comes out once a year, because I could smoke those every day.
That is actually one of my favorite cigars post the original Alec Bradley Tempest, right? But that cigar is awesome. And whenever, and obviously it comes out around St. Patrick's Day, so around mid-November. Anyway, so I was up watching. I was up watching the Patriots game and the who the hell's gonna play the Yankees game last night. So I'm a little, Plus I'm drinking this whiskey instead of my Bloody Mary. But anyway, when I first had that, it was the black market, and then every year I look forward. I always get a box. The shop owner always puts a box together, and I get them every year, and they usually. I'm not a cigar saver. So these Tempest, these original they're gone in freaking 60 days tops, right? Probably 40 days. Anyway, right? And so I'm not a saver, right? I've always expected on the show, and so I go and I look forward to yearly when cigars come out. For example, the Filthy Hooligan is in that rotation for my yearly calendar, not Stogie Geeks. It reminds me of right around Thanksgiving. The Altera Fluente Añejo comes out for that, so I always get a box of those as well, and so I have a couple of cigars that are yearly to me for either whichever, but that Filthy Hooligan is so cool. I've noticed that I don't know, it's just me, it was a little bit stronger when it first came out. You know what I mean? And then to me, it just kind of, I don't know if it's tobacco crop or whichever, it just kind of. That Nicaraguan component that you get, that natural Nicaraguan, you get the retrohale, leaves you with that pepper, right? It just, it to me, the originals were super cool. But I'm also a fan of the Candela wrapper. I love the, I think it's a Cane, the Rocky Patel, not Cane, what the hell, the Edge, the Rocky Patel Edge Candela.
Edge Candela.
That's a freaking super cool stick, you know what I mean? And I like those as well, when they were rocking and rolling and all that stuff, but that's another story. But so I'm a super fan of the Candela because you get that saltiness. At least I get that in my palate. You get that really saltiness, and again, it kind of changes the blend. And the barber pole aspect is super cool. And it comes around St. Patrick's Day. Who the hell doesn't like a Guinness?
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I'll tell you that Ecuador Sumatra. I mean, and again, I'm just really getting geekish on that. But man, that really comes through the flavors, the aroma there. I mean, it's not super overpowering, but it's just it's something different. And when that Candela, like you said, when you're smoking that Candela, and I don't go to those quite often. Just like I wasn't doing the Lanceros prior. Man, that was, I love that stick. And yeah, I bought the rest of them that we had here to put that in my regular rotation for sure.
I love talking to the marketing guy because then we can get into product, you know what I mean? As opposed to historical stuff of Alec Bradley. Take us through the Magic Toast. And
Magic Toast.
Yeah, the Magic, because that's interesting.
I love Magic Toast.
That's interesting as well. That, it looks like, to me, it's marketed as a nightstick. It's a great morning stick. But anyway.
No, it's got a great sweetness to it. I mean, my regular rotation right this second is definitely Magic Toast. Interestingly enough, obviously it wasn't around in the 70s, 80s, 90s, but in the 2000s when I was working in retail, Lars was a big thing in our shop. So it's kind of reminiscent, so I've been smoking a lot of Lars too. And then, Gatekeeper's an outstanding stick and I'm smoking right now. That's part of my regular rotation as well. But no, Magic Toast, it's just got a great natural sweetness to it. I do, smoke it with morning coffee. I smoke it in the afternoon. It's just, interestingly enough, it hasn't really gotten great scores, but I'm okay with that. Black market's never gotten great scores either, but to date, since that cigar came out, it's still our number one selling cigar. But Magic Toast, man, that is just a great blend. I really do enjoy that cigar. Yeah.
Any marketing significant behind the name or anything like that you want to spill out, or?
Yeah, I mean, the significance behind that, it's a real funky name.
Yep.
It goes back to, Alan went to Honduras, met up with some of his business partners there. There was a new field that was just purchased. The story goes, it was, twilight, and it was like a magical night. And, Alan kind of has that, he's got that reminiscent thing going on too. And, when a moment strikes, it's all about the experience. And for all intents and purposes, it was a magical night. And, we're all big Scotch drinkers over here. There happened to be some Scotch available to them at the time, and they toasted on the field, and Magic Toast. There you go.
I love it. I love hearing stories like that. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, man, we're going to call it pink and yellow. Why? Because what came up on the TV screen was pink and yellow, man. It was awesome.
Exactly.
Oh, that's super cool. You know what got me through, like, timeline? I know I'm kind of bouncing around, but, yeah, I'm scatterbrained in real life anyway, so welcome to the show, Jonathan. What was super cool was the over here, I'm looking. It was, I just had it, and I switched there was a Rosado wrapper. Hold on.
Not the Nicopuro Rosado?
Nicopuro, that's it. Thank you. Yeah. Like that Rosado wrapper, that was pretty good. That was a good stick.
Very tasty cigar.
Yep.
91 rated. It didn't really translate in the U.S. for some odd reason. We're still making that cigar for Europe. The Europeans love that wrapper. They love that cigar. But, no, it was tasty. Rated very well, but for some reason did not translate in this country.
Yep. Even the Nicopuro, the regular, or the first one, whatever came out. I'm assuming
the first,
yep. Like that was like super cool stick too. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because us as consumers, we get smashed with freaking everybody else's stick, right? You know what I mean? It's like it kind of just, you kind of have this unorganized queue of what you like, and then when I was like, oh yeah, Alec Bradley, man, they make like I like the Nicopuro better than the Black Market series, my opinion, there. But definitely like where you guys are going is super cool. Is definitely super cool.
Thank you.
One more. Oh, the fine and rare.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's I don't even know if I got those. I think I did.
I haven't had one of those yet.
I haven't. I honestly have not had one of those yet. If I got it, maybe cool. But actually, I think I do have it because the label looks familiar. But
yeah, a couple of our lounge patrons that come through, they were telling me that's one I gotta get my hands on. So I'll definitely be getting a hold of those soon.
Fine and rare is more of a project and less of a cigar. I mean, that goes back to 2009 is when Alan started that project. But it started as it's a 10 tobacco blend. And every year there's a different iteration, always 10 different tobaccos, but the blend always changes. It's always, well, not always, but it tends to be a different size every year. We've duped one size before, or one or two sizes before, but we've tweaked the blend over time. And there is another one coming out. I can't speak on it. I can't speak to the date. I can't speak to the blend, but there is another one coming soon.
Nice.
Awesome. So it'd be called the same thing. So that's always in. That's always in like a conveyor belt of ever-changing blends.
Correct.
That's cool.
Yeah. Each iteration has its own little name and marker, and they all have some type of meaning to the company. Usually either 3 or 4 letters, followed by some numerical value, and there's always a meaning. And I don't always know those meanings, and sometimes I won't even ask Alan what they are. But there's always a meaning to that cigar, and there's always a special reason that cigar comes out.
True. Have you had the Texas Lancero?
Yes.
I have. See, they're not big on Lanceros over here in the Northeast. So tell us about that
there
one.
There it is.
Oh, you got it. All right. Look at that.
Just got one.
Yeah, this is a wordplay on Lancero, of course.
Completely.
Actually, you reviewed that, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
All right,
yes, I
that's
did.
why it sounded familiar. Yeah. That's
But
right.
this-
Yep. All right, go for it. Yep.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say that you talk about marketing and just the wordplay on this Lancero. When I tell people, "Oh, I got a Lancero for you to try," I always bring this stick, and they're looking at me like, "That's not a Lancero." I say, "Yeah, it is. It says so right here on the band."
Texas Lancero. That's right.
Everything's
I remember
bigger
that.
in Texas.
Yeah.
Well, that's right. I said, "You guys like your chicken fried steaks as big as a manhole cover? Why not try their Texas Lancero? I mean, right after you eat that." Manhole cover of a chicken fried steak. So
You gave that a good rating, right, Drew?
oh yeah.
All right,
Oh,
don't be
this is
afraid
like-
if it was bad.
No. This is like one of my favorites. This is I take a box of
Thank
these
you,
sticks
Drew.
with me pretty much anywhere I go, just so when I want to blow some people's minds that come here from LA or from the Northwest, I'm like, oh, here, I got a cigar for you. So no, one of my favorite cigars as well. And I'll tell you, a lot of people, I mean, they love the flavor profile in it. It burns well for being for what it is, the size anyhow. But you will be sitting down for a while. You will have a good hour and a half, to sit down and enjoy that stick for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get some from you, Drew. We're gonna do a stick trade.
Yes, we will.
For sure. I remember that. I remember that one. I remember now when you were reviewing, I was like, put that on your list to do it. It's really weird, Jonathan. Like, Drew's down in Texas, and obviously I'm up here in the Northeast, and so when we do Sticks of the Week on the second segment of Stogie Geeks, like it's super cool when we get to stuff that like we both have no access to other than online, but like we would normally, it's like, oh yeah, this is an everyday smoke for me, and I'm like, you got that? Like, holy crap, you know what I mean? But I still get amazed at the distribution wow factor. I don't know what to say. It just, I find that like utterly amazing. Like, really, you can go to Northeast, but you can't go to Texas, and they probably sell 10 times more cigars in Texas than Northeast. But it's all good.
Texas Lancero, you could get that all over. Believe it or not, that cigar is unbelievably popular in Hong Kong.
Really?
Our Hong Kong distributor buys those things. It's unbelievable how many Texas Lanceros that guy buys and distributes. Unbelievable.
Awesome. So what are some of the popular sticks that like might not have kind of caught on with the states that have over the other side?
Sanctum is very popular overseas. That cigar was fantastic. I still love that blend. Coyol does very, very well in the European countries. Very well. I think it has more to do with, the flavor is great, and and I hate using this word, but it's a really good word to describe it. The blend and the flavor profile is very Cuban-esque.
Sure.
I really hate that word.
I was going to use old school. Like I was wondering, like
old school.
Like it's like the Creole is like an old school smoke. I enjoy that as well. Yeah.
And the packaging is very reminiscent of a Cuban box too, so that definitely helps. But that cigar really kicks ass in Europe, along with Sanctum and Nica Rosado. All three fantastic blends. All three never terribly caught on in the United States.
Drew, you have a question?
Yeah, I was going to ask. With so many cigars for consumers to choose from, how is Alec Bradley, marketing to keep? Not that it's a problem because everywhere I go, I've seen Alec Bradley, but just for our listeners, how do you help consumers find Alec Bradley products over your competitors?
So, there's a few things that we do. We have a fantastic sales team in the United States. We have a fantastic partners in Canada, in Europe, in Asia, and across the world. And, those different, distributors, I would say, they run their business the way they want to run their business. They choose the cigars that, speak to their markets and fill in their portfolios. On the United States side, our sales team, there are brand guidelines that they all follow. There are setups in stores, shelf talkers. We have these shelf flags that help separate our areas in brick and mortar. We have a fantastic, key accounts manager who works really well with the online guys and our distributor partners as well. We do our advertising, and we have some print advertising. We're doing a lot of banner ads right this second, and we choose cigars that we want to push in a month, in a quarter, things that people, used to buy, and they just got to be, again, going back to Joe's point, there's so many cigars out there, and even within one's portfolio, something might be hot at the moment, and then you stop taking a look at something that used to be hot. It's like, oh, you know what, this was a great blend. People have to smoke it again. So, we target these things, and we get it back in the faces of consumers and, people who enjoy cigars. It's much, much harder post FDA that you just can't give out samples to, every guy that you walk in the shop. So, FDA has made it a lot harder, not just for Alec Bradley, but for every single cigar manufacturer to get that point across. And you really have to, you survive on whatever marketing efforts you have in house, and then you survive on, what the brick and mortars are doing, and, making sure that they support the product, they support their rep. And the same with online guys. You really have to look to your tobacconists for that support. And we do our very best to do that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like with the retailers, because I know that some retailers listen to this show and other podcasts as well to get the interviews and stuff like that, and that's been some of the feedback that I've received. And it's like when you're dealing with the retailers, some of them get it, some of them don't get it. We're not going to get into that, but like you offer a different situation as opposed to other key facings that are out there. So obviously I don't put you in that boutique section. When you walk into a humidor, any humidor that has over 80 facings, right? There will be an Alec Bradley product there, right? It's for sure. There's going to be an Alec Bradley product there. Like, do you almost have to like rekindle, like Nick Capuro, right? Like that hasn't come up on Stogie Geeks from my mouth in probably a year and a half. And it's not like, for no other reason other than, again, we get flooded with so much other stuff, new stuff, that, it just kind of gets there. And then so when your sales rep, any territory, walks into to the shop and says, hey, what do you think about adding on a box of Nick Capuro? What? Like, what? What? You guys still make those? Like,
Yeah.
And again, it's not an Alec Bradley thing. It's an everybody's thing. You know what I mean? It's an everybody's thing. And especially you guys, you've been around for a while, so you have a bigger line. And some of the boutiques that might not have a bigger line, and then they get bigger. But if you fast forward 20 years from now, non-FDA, they're going to have just as big a line as you guys. And it's, how do you combat that? Like, do you have, like, I imagine you get the sales team and say, hey man, like, we got some, and again, I'm not picking on any particular brand. I'm trying to go back in the time machine, right? Of your timeline of success, right? Which you've had one because you're still in business, and you right. I mean,
Yeah, we are, yeah.
and you're on like.
I like being employed.
Yeah, sure. But as you go through that, like how do you rekindle that effort? Like, especially now, like with you might focus on the kids, Alec and Bradley, and what their stuff is new, because sometimes as a company as big as yours, you can fall victim to that as well.
There's no question about that. And I can't say it's easy. It's definitely not easy. I think that online media, you guys, other bloggers, people that do interviews, things like that, we do have a very long line of products, and our competitors, there's new products all the time. There's complementary products out there, and we have new products. It's tough. Every now and again we try to refocus, and I think that our efforts now to target brands on a monthly or quarterly basis and speak to those brands, and whenever we have those brands that we choose. We choose 3 to 4 brands a quarter, and we say to the sales team, hey, this is what we are focusing on. Don't take your mind off of the new stuff. Don't take your mind off of Magic Toast, on Gatekeeper, on Blind Faith, on those items. But this month or this quarter, we're gonna focus on Nicapuro. We're gonna focus on Texas Lancero, the lineage, so on and so forth. And for that quarter, the sales in those things spike. Like I said, we have a fantastic sales team. The key accounts manager, who is now also the vice president of sales. I work along with him. It's almost symbiotic. And, when marketing comes down and we say, what, this is going to be the brand focus for this quarter or for this month, everybody's on board.
Yep.
Everybody's on board. And it goes back to the retailers. And it's like, what, you need to add back Nicapuro, because this is why. You need to get lineage back in here. This is why. Surprisingly, I personally thought that, the 7 set by 70 craze was over. We've seen the waves and ebbs and that. And then I think last quarter we did banner ads and we did some backups on Texas Lancero, and Texas Lancero's sales spiked. So marketing does work, and I think that's what keeps me employed. So
Yep. So you almost have to really, just like the consumer, you yourself as a company have to sit back and say, okay, we're doing a big push for this, but we should probably put a little spotlight on this and kind of see where it goes, and rekindle something that is still available.
Absolutely.
Because it happens, and again, it depends on the retailer and his or her volume, but it happens when they all focus on new, and then the old ones are still sitting there. And by the way, just for if you're listening, and those new ones, those older ones that have been sitting there, they're aging, so they're gonna get even better.
What I was gonna add to that was that we actually printed out all the Alec Bradley product lines that are out, or that have been there for a while, and our guests here at our lounge are like, oh, I haven't had the Occidental Reserve, a few years ago. I like to see that back. So so the new also brought back the thought of, oh, well, I remember this cigar, the reminiscences of that cigar. And they were like, you like to try that again, or like to get some of that again. So that's what that new has done here at our store. It's rekindled them to go visit some of the other ones that were in the past. So
Absolutely.
That's pretty
cool. And ultimately it is up to the retailer to put something together on their end to, get the product back in and whatnot, as opposed to focus on new. Because you can go down a vortex as a retail business owner and focus on new, and next thing you know, 8 months have passed, and you're like, oh, I forgot about the other stuff, and wow. When I go back and check my sales records, I'm like, why did I get rid of this stick? It freaking sold, So you never know, you never know. Stogie Geeks, make sure you go to alecbradley.com. Check them out. Check them out on social media. Jonathan, is there anything else that you want to add?
No, I really appreciate the time. I appreciate the support. Joe, Drew, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, man, it was a pleasure having you. And please extend the invitation. I'd love to get Alec and Bradley on separate. Laz Teetons, if you can hone him down. I don't know if he's into this thing, but he'll be all right.
Of course, yeah.
Absolutely. He'll be all right. I would like that out. Like, he's gonna get like a 20-minute intro from me. Like, I'm gonna be like, dude, I can't believe I'm talking to you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, did you ever do I'm gonna ask him if he's ever done a board slide on his metal skateboard, because those are slippery as hell. I'm just.
I was never a skater, but I'm sure you can answer that question for you, Joe.
You know what I mean? But yeah, man, I used to shred, dude. You know what I mean? Who knows? Anyway, Jonathan, thank you for appearing on Stogie Geeks. Thank you for your time, and good luck with everything. If you have any product announcements that you want us to do on the show, just flash us an email, and we'll get that done for you.
Okay. Gentlemen, thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Stogie Geeks, thanks. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back with the second segment. What's up, Stogie Geeks listeners? Joe Zempa here, a.k.a. Joe Hollywood, a.k.a. the Italian Stallion, telling you about a little giveaway that we have going on. We've teamed up with our sponsor, JC Newman, this year to give back to the Stogie Geeks listener. They've been such an awesome partner so far. They've decided to give away one Diamond Crown Humidor per quarter to the winner that they choose. All you got to do is log on to stogiegeeks.com/Diamond Crown. Click on the enter to win button. It's really that easy. So if you're smart and you want an awesome humidor for your home collection, go to our website, stogiegeeks.com, find that banner ad right on top, click on it, and register to win that humidor. Good luck. Welcome back to episode 308 of Stogie Geeks. I am your host, Joe Zempa, and Drew is joining us live via Zoom out in Thunderstorm, Texas. Drew, how's it going?
Good. It's just rainy and stormy over here, and looking forward to cooler weather, but not this cold. I was hoping it would transition from the 90s to the 80s and then 70s and so forth, but it dropped all the way down to the 40s today, so it's cold. How's it going with you?
It's going good. It's going good. Just to let you know, this segment we had a interview with Armen. He's the managing partner for DAV Cigars, and as we speak, he is circling the local airport over there and waiting for a spot to land because of all those thunderstorms. So our interview has been postponed. But we're going to take a quick second and talk about an event that Drew is attending this week. But before this, we do that, I want to talk to you a little bit about Plasencia Cigars. Plasencia Cigars is one of the world's leading growers of first-class tobacco, as they have been pioneers in the industry since 1865. 5 generations of the Plasencia family have continued in the legacy of Nicaragua and Honduras. Today, the Plasencia family's very own cigar line, led by CEO and master blender Nestor Plasencia, produces over 40 million handmade cigars each year. Plasencia Cigars celebrates their Nicaraguan roots through their premium Alma series, inclusive of the complex blends of the Alma Fuerte, the Alma del Campio, and their newest release, the Alma del Fuego, each harvested in the pure soils of Nicaragua. Go to stogiegeeks.com, click on that Plasencia banner, and find yourself a retailer near you. And maybe Tuesday, if you go to stogiegeeks.com/Plasencia, there'll be a video up there for you to watch as well. There you go. So, Drew, we're not going to be able to interview Armen. We're going to reschedule that interview, but I just want to take a couple of seconds for you to talk, because we were going to end that interview with what is going on for you this weekend. You have an event with Cigars and Spirits. Tell us about it.
Yes, so if you, Stogie Geek listeners, if you find yourself in the Dallas-Fort Worth area this weekend, or if you're here in our great state, if you do get a chance, come out and check out the Cigars and Spirits event. It starts about 5:30 in the evening, ends about 10:30, I believe it is. It is going to be in the city of Fort Worth at the Panther Island Pavilion. There will be many offerings of spirits to sample. There'll be many cigar lines there for you to enjoy and take home as well. I will be walking around on behalf of Stogie Geeks and Prestige Cigars, Tobacco and Lounge there, and I'll be doing some interviews and taking photos and all that more, good stuff of meeting people from all over the United States, because there'll be a lot of people there. So I look forward to talking with y'all and just meeting everybody and enjoying the sticks and spirits, and you'll get to meet some of my crew that kind of hangs around me. We're kind of like the entourage, just better. But
it's awesome.
Yeah, but other than that, it's also the big thing going on here is the Red River Showdown between Texas and Oklahoma. So you'll see a sea of red and sea of orange going on. There'll be a lot of that camaraderie going on between the two schools here at the big Texas State Fair that's going on as well. So if you come in, if you're in town, come by to this wonderful event that Cigars and Spirits is putting together, and look forward to meeting you.
And the Yankees should be in town.
Yes. So yesterday the Astros pulled it off, as everybody knew that they would. So I'm torn because I'm a Yankees fan. I was also a Dodgers fan, and since I transplanted here back in 2013, I've become a Texas sports fan. So I just love a lot of the how do you say, banter that happens.
There is banter, and especially, I mean, Houston, what, three spots in 3 years? I like it. I think it's super cool that Verlander is no longer the show. They have other talent over there. As a Yankee fan, I'm concerned. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie. And, either way, when I saw the fourth game, it was actually the night when we went to the 25th anniversary party for Kathleen over at Queensbury Tobacco and Pipe. Congratulations to her on that accomplishment as well. And we were watching that game. When they put Verlander in as an act of desperation or methodology, however you want to describe it, I was like, this is interesting. And I was like, if Tampa Bay even makes it, this is going to be real interesting. Because Tampa Bay in our division, for both Yankees and Red Sox, has always been one of those spoiler teams that, it's kind of like to the Patriots and the Dolphins. You know what I mean? Usually when the Patriots go down to Miami for that last game before their playoff run, the Dolphins always freaking find a way to get the ball in the end zone more.
Yeah.
So definitely that should be a super cool series to watch.
So the Dallas Cowboys are going to be up in the I guess Northern Territory where you guys are at, the Jets.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's all the stars, all the Cowboy fans here are, now they're sitting back silently, just wondering what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because they're thinking, well, if the Jets are going to beat the one team, they'll probably beat the Dallas Cowboys, but I'm hoping not, because then you'll see all the bumper stickers get ripped off, and Jerry Jones will be, he'll be getting all this hate mail.
Yeah. I think that they should be all right.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think the Yankees are going to win it in 6. I think the Cowboys will win it.
Yep. And
I think you're going to have a good time at your Cigars and Spirits events. Take good pictures. We'll post them up on Stogie Geek social media somehow, some way. We'll all have to email them to Mark and Johnny, and they'll take care of that. Just make reference, Drew, of who you took a picture of, so that especially if you are there going to be any small batch or boutique brands there, or is it kind of okay, go ahead.
Yeah, no, there's going to be a good mix of boutique brands and the classic facing brands, of course. From what I understand, Fuentes has a big presence in this. McAuliffe is the major sponsor of it, so he's got his everybody together to come down and support the show. It's its second annual. Mm-hmm. So from what I understand, last year was a blast, and this year from what I've been told, it's going to be an extravagant to go to.
Well, it's always a good time when you can get together a group of people and talk cigars and leave politics out of it, and you'll be all right.
Yeah.
Sports, I think it's kind of impossible. You got a lot of things going on in both your region and my region, sports wise. So yeah.
Oh, definitely. That's going to be a fun fall for sure during this next month or two. So,
do you agree with my assessment? Yankees in 6, or?
I'm hoping they'll do that in less than that. I mean, I've followed them this year. And looking at stats and just kind of geeking out on that. I know the Astros can pose, a threat, but I believe the Yankees will pull this one off. So number 27, right? Is that what we're going for?
8.
28.
Yes,
okay. It's been a while. I haven't updated my patches because I haven't had to.
Yeah, I hear you. It's interesting. Needless to say, but I'll be watching that. Super cool. Excited to watch it, and have fun at the event. Keep us posted, and I'm sure we'll have to carve out some time next week for you to talk about the event and what happened and how that went. And if we get the pictures by then, the Stogie Geeks listener can follow along. If not, we'll have to put that up on the website a week after the episode or whichever. And I'm looking forward to the feedback and have fun at your event for sure.
Yeah, thank you. Also, just a reminder, everybody, I have an email address now, so send me some emails.
And your Twitter. You're on Twitter now.
Yes, I'm on Twitter as well. I finally got onto that Twitter platform. It took me I'm still going through classes from my younger folks that are teaching me how to use that platform correctly. But Drew at StogieGeeks.com is my email. Of course, I'm on all the other platforms of social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter now. So, look forward to hearing from you guys and let me know how I'm doing. And, share some stories together and have a good time with that.
All right. So make sure you follow Drew on Twitter and email Drew at StogieGeeks.com. Give him your feedback. He'd love to hear from you. We'll read some more emails online for sure. Stogie Geeks, we'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.